Hello everybody, it's MJ and welcome back to the channel. Just a little couple housekeeping things. As far as my videos, as you can see, I haven't uploaded in a very long time. There's a reason for that. I'm currently at college and I had a buttload of work to do, so unfortunately I couldn't keep it or maintain a schedule, but I should be ramping up videos quite soon. Uh, I'm going to start today with this lovely tank you have here right in front of you, the VK72, a tank that I recently got. I tried it out. Uh, I played quite a bit of games. I would say about 90 games in it, and I really do just enjoy this tank a lot. There's I'm going to go over the armor profile, what you should be doing with this tank, and I'm going to go over two games to show what exactly you should be doing in this tank in battles, because I feel like this is a tank that people struggle with. However, if as long as you play it correctly, it's really one of the easiest tanks to play, and it's also one of the easiest German tanks to play. So going over consumables and everything that I'm running on it. Consumables, I have multi-purpose repair restoration pack. I have a repair kit, and then I just have adrenaline. A very simple, very standard consumable layout. For provisions, I have the bigger chocolate, protective kit, and improved fuel. I kind of just want to highlight that, especially on heavies, especially nowadays, that protective kit is one of the most useful provisions that you could put on a heavy. So I do, like, doesn't matter the heavy, put on protective kit. It helps out a lot. Ammunition, 20 AP, 14 heat, 8 high explosive. Of course, some people value high explosive more than heat, so of course you can, giving it a lower amount of heat, increasing HE. It's all up to you. This is just personal preference. Equipment, what I'm running here, and this is where it might throw off some of you. I'm running calibrated shells, which does decrease this tank's already horrendous DPM, but I do feel that calibrated is a necessity on this tank, especially when you're 1v1ing other super heavily armored tanks. Supercharge, this is where people get confused. I think supercharge is a necessity on this tank, especially because it's a rear mounted tank, so the shell velocity feels a little bit funky compared to a tank like the E100, which is basically this tank's brother, as both of them have 150 millimeters. And then I run V-stabs on this. I do not feel the need to run refined gun. I don't see the need for it, so I just run this instead. However, what I do like to highlight as well is that I do run, and I don't run this often on many tanks, is I run enhanced armor. I find enhanced armor does work on this tank fairly well, rather than improved assembly. Sure, you get up to almost 2.8k HP, but the enhanced armor makes this tank's frontal armor absolutely amazing. This tank already has amazing frontal armor. Even the lower plate, as you can see here, is still around 280 and up. It's around 280, 290, and when you angle this up, you're getting extremely harsh angles. This thing is almost unpennable. Front plate, also super strong, even against your super meta tanks like E5, IS4, Kranwagen that are getting up to 374 millimeters of heat pen if running calibrated. This tank is still very, very strong and reliable. As far as what else I'm running, I'm just running improved optics and improved control, so I do get just a boost in hull traverse. And another thing that should be ran on all heavies is toolbox. This is very important. Alrighty, and to give you a quick rundown of just how I was doing in this tank for the 88 some odd or 90 battles that I was playing it. Unfortunately, win rate kind of low. I was disappointed. Hit a couple of rough sessions with that. 69%, but it's actually 68.18. But 3.4k average. I would say fairly respectable for the thing that I only soloed in it. I'm sure that my win rate would be higher if I did decide to, to actually tune in it. But yes, all right, hopping into the first game, we got the VK72 on Dynasty's Pearl, a map that the VK72 actually does fairly well on both sides of the map, just because this thing can go hold down better than its counterpart, the E100 and the Mouse. So as far as this game goes, I'm gonna go right. I feel very comfortable in this tank's abilities to go right on this map, especially because even on these hilly terrain, it can do fairly well. So right here, we're just gonna trot all along. Right here, I'm looking at the enemy team lineup. I see they got a TVP, an M46, but right now the only tanks that I'm really worried about are tanks that can pen me reliably. So obviously 183, E5. E75 will struggle to pen me along with the Kampfpanzer. We find an M46. I don't know what he's doing, but we're going to tap a nice shell in there. We got 770 off of that guy. But we're just going to trot along here. Right here, I spot the 183. E5's up top to my left along with the E75, so I do feel comfortable here to poke this. I'm going to wait for the 183 to hopefully fire. He doesn't fire, so he's going to wait for me, but he's going to pen us just because he does have the pen to go through the lower plate quite reliably, but thankfully because of that supercharge that I was talking about, we hit that shell very comfortably. And that's where the supercharge on this tank helps so much, is hitting those shots that need to be snapped quite quickly, even if they're half aimed in. So right here, I'm going to actually advance just because this Kampfpanzer, he's going to struggle with penning me. He's going to turn his side a little bit, and we're going to take the opportunity to tap him. He's going to push off to the side. He's fearing us right now. Right here, what I'm thinking is just reload, and hopefully we can get like maybe a HE into this TVP. But what's actually going to happen, the 1E3 is going to poke it again, so I'm going to try to angle up the lower plate as much as possible. We're going to fire. We're going to try to put a steep angle on it. He still pins, unfortunately, but I'm more than happy to take that trade any day, especially because he is one of the more dangerous tanks on the team. Even though the 183 is not exactly the best tank. Right here, we see the E75, he's side scraping, so what we're going to do is we're going to poke out the front instead of side scraping, and because of that, we're going to get a bounce off the lower plate. This tank's ability just to, I guess, just push, and also 1v1 tanks is extraordinary. This tank, if you are facing it frontally, I advise you, if you are going against it, to never face hug it. It's one of the hardest tanks to face hug. Just because that frontal armor is absolutely scary to come up against in any other heavy. Right here, we're just gonna flank around. I'm gonna help out our E5 because he's somewhat low, so I'm gonna tap him with AP, hopefully, and we roll super low. I should have just HE'd it, but he should be taken out. Yeah, he takes out the E5, and right here, we're just gonna face like the E75, and he's gonna struggle to pen us. We're just wiggling, we're gun blocking. He bounces. I'm going to be a little bit greedy here. I aim for the TVP, and what's going to happen is that's going to bite me. That's going to bite me in the butt because now the TVP is just going to clip me. And him being smart, he's going to use, he's just going to, he uses the heat, goes through my lower plate, and there's nothing I can do about that. But even then, and even in that situation, we were still able to block 2 more shells from the E75 and the TVP. The gun on it is amazing. If you run the correct thing, I definitely recommend running Supercharge. It helps out a lot with this tank. Looking at the battle results, which will come up momentarily, we got 4.6k average, a 3rd class. We got Confederate. Not too many credits. Tier 10 isn't known for making credits, but we did fairly well. It wasn't a super hard game. It wasn't a game where I showed off the armor amazingly, but hopefully the second game will show off just how to use this armor to its maximum capability. All right, this second game, we find ourselves on Canal, a game, or I should say a map that's very in the open, I would say, very big. Meds tend to excel well on this map. So heavies, they kind of get pinned down sometimes whenever they go from side to side. So what I'm going to do here, especially I like to do this in my German heavies just because I want to hold as much map control for my team as possible, is I go mid and I'm going to try to spot up anything that goes to the right towards the sector 1 area. So right here, I'm just sitting here, and we're actually going to spot an E100, or a mouse, I should say, being very aggressive. He pens my lower plate, but we do win that trade. That's the nice thing about having a 640 Alpha gun, is that we can just win the trade against that mouse every time, and that's going to come in clutch later on when I do get in a 1v1 situation with the mouse. So right here, I'm just backing up. I'm trying to survey my options here. Spotted VK72. Mouse dips down low, so what I'm expecting is he's going to go up that ramp. I do spot TDs off to the side on the left, So what I'm going to try to do is support my team the best I can over there. So we spot the Jagdpanzer. We're going to load heat for his side cheek. We're going to shoot. It does hit. We're going to find out later that that does pen. The mouse, unfortunately, does get a side shot into us. And that's one thing that I should highlight about this tank, is that this tank has pretty meh side armor. It's not great. What you're going to see here is we're going to angle up our lower plate, and he's going to bounce. He's actually going to hit the upper plate there just because we drove forward just in time to where it blocks his gun from hitting the lower plate. And right here, you're going to see where this tank excels. Those 1v1 scenarios, because this tank, whenever it gets into a 1v1, it usually wins, especially against other heavies. So right here, we see the VK-72 off to the side. I'm going to try it. We go for a heat, doesn't happen, but see, right again, right there. You want to angle your VK-72 like that, especially against heavies and other high pen tanks, because especially against mouses, because they don't have the most pen, so they're going to struggle to go through your front. And once again, this is where the trading comes into handy. He hits us for 417, we hit him for 549. I mean, and we're going to win this trade, even if he does pen all his shots after we start poking him. We're still going to win this trade. So he's going to angle out. We're going to angle our front out. He's going to fire. So what we're going to do, we're going to go forward. He's going to try to angle up, and this is where this calibrated shells comes in. We can just go through the front of his upper plate, no problem, and we're just going to back up. And see, this is where you can separate a good VK-72 player to an amazing one, is how they utilize the armor profile. So right here, you're going to see we're going to angle up the bottom plate again. VK-72 is not even going to bother with us. He knows that he can't pen that reliably, so he's just going to aim for the Yag. So right here, we're going to pop Adrenaline. We're going to look to shoot a tank across the way. This is where hold down comes in handy. They're not even going to bother shooting at us. This Yag, I believe he's going to get tapped by the grill. Actually, he bounces. So right now, I'm just going to push across right here. The VK-72, he's going to go for a shot on the Yag. Yeah, he's just going to ignore us. Right here, I'm going to turn my turret to the left just so I make it a harder shot for the 4005. Right here, we're going to aim lower plate, 527. See, that's where the weakness of this tank comes into play, is that it's lower plate. The minute people load heat, it does become vulnerable, so you want to try to angle it up as much as possible, as I'm doing here. I'm going to angle it up. He's not even going to bother, and he's just going to go for the Yag. And see, this VK-72 not using his frontal armor. The side's so weak. We do set him on fire, and just the alpha on this tank mixed with the armor that it does have puts it, I would say, I would rather play this tank than an E100, to be honest. This tank can be way more aggressive than an E100 in most scenarios, just because of its hold down capability and just the ability to 1v1 other heavies very comfortably. Yeah, that's the VK-72 in a nutshell. What can I say? An armor piercing nutshell. 5.2k damage that game. Pretty telling game on how to play this tank. You just want to make sure that you use that frontal armor. You want, yeah, just that frontal armor, that lower plate, you want to angle it up. Don't side scrape in this, because those triangles on the side are vulnerable and super weak. I believe 180 millimeters. But yeah, hopefully this review does help you with this tank, because it is quickly gained the title of one of my favorite heavies to play nowadays, especially just because it's so easy to play. But hopefully this helps you out, so all you in the future, if you do decide to get this tank, you play well in it. So hopefully you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.